If he wants to do that, why should she stop him? If that's what gives him pleasure. I mean, he's wound up an unhappy man. If he wants to do that, let him do it. Why should she control him so much that he can't play polo should he want to? Why has she got to be there, messing around, being mother, being granny, being, lover? Why is she always there? You can't actually try and keep a man like that, and telling him exactly what he can do. Move away, move backwards, move forwards. She does that whenever they go out. Let him have it. If he finds it nice, he finds it satisfying and exciting, let him do it. So what? If nobody else likes it, doesn't matter, because he can do it with his pals. It's a ridiculous way for a woman to behave.
I have sat through 5 hours of Polo on Netflix. And I'm actually not exaggerating when I say this was the least entertaining, most self-obsessed, worst series on Netflix in its history, and actually the final nail in the coffin of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's entertainment career. Because the problem with Polo is that it doesn't please anyone. It's not entertaining at all, but it's also not educational or informative. Harry and Meghan have ludicrously suggested that this series somehow brings Polo to a new audience, proving that this just isn't a sport for multi-millionaires to watch while their wives quaff champagne and eat caviar. But that's exactly what the series shows. It also proves to me that Harry and Meghan's lives are vacuous, that they have nothing to offer to the world when it comes to charity or when it comes to genuine change, which is, remember what they said their Netflix deal was all about. But actually, the biggest crime for me in this series is that it doesn't have anyone you want to root for. And that's what television and reality TV is meant to be about. Yeah, sure, sometimes you laugh at someone. Sure, sometimes you look at their lives and think, isn't it glamorous? But fundamentally, there has to be someone there that you relate to. And in this 5 hours, I didn't relate to one human being. In fact, I found the horses much more entertaining and felt sorry for how often they were hit. Let's have a look at some of the lowlights first. Prince Harry, talking about riding with your father.
What's it like playing against your kid?
It's difficult. And worse when you lose.
I did wonder how he felt about that, given he's now throwing King Charles under the bus. Then, of course, we had Miss Meghan Markle, and her grand appearance waited until episode 5, so you have to put up with 4 hours before you see her boasting about the fact that she can speak fluent Spanish.
Once again in the green shirt, Steve Cox at number 1.
¿En muy?
Sí, las canchitas.
Está bueno, ahí no estaba el cancha de polo.
Sí, sí, pero me encanta el 25 de mayo.
Sí, mira qué bueno, claro. El interior habla. Do you speak Spanish, no?
Yes.
He knows you, he knows you.
Sí. Pues sí, sí, sí.
Sí, un poquito. Bueno.
Prince Harry decided to try and be compassionate about a guy who nearly died during a polo match. If anyone nearly dies during a sporting pursuit. But I've come to realize actually that polo isn't really a sport. It's just a game for very, very rich people who can afford private jets to literally fly horses all around the world. The only other celebrity that we see, by the way, is Serena Williams, making a blink and you'll miss it appearance. So polo isn't just bad. It is genuinely the worst reality television series I have ever watched. It is genuinely the worst series Netflix has ever produced. And if Harry and Meghan get another deal after this, then I'm sorry, something really is going on. But maybe I'm just being unfair. Prince Harry's biographer, Angela Levin, had the terrible job of watching this today too. All, of course, so that you don't have to. And I really recommend that you don't do that. Angela, I'm a little bit angry about this, I guess, because I lost 5 hours of my life. But am I just being unfair? Am I missing something about Polo?
Well, I thought of it slightly differently to you. I mean, I felt it was a dope's guide to a rich man's sport. It was all done as if we were in the first class at school, where the beginners class, where they would actually explain everything to us in very, very simple way. Um, I don't know anything about polo. I mean, I like some sport, but I need to get involved with all the atmosphere and excitement. But this really was extraordinary. But there was a lot of Harry and Meghan in it, which of course you know. But it was that they think that everybody needs to be told things in a way because they're stupid. So that it can be very annoying indeed. And also that they would let all these very rich, sporty men who like the game to moan about what they miss out and how unhappy their life is because, you know, they have to concentrate very hard. They have to work very hard. They have to win. They have to do it all the time. It's not just a game, it's something that they live with all the time. And I thought, you know, how extraordinary that they managed to get people to say very similar things about them. That even if they've got loads of money, a sport they love, plenty of time, they still are moaning. And it's a sort of a moaning brigade, really, and not being really grateful for what they have. It's all, and actually, there's one place when a man um, doesn't want to go to his wife baby blessing and
Oh, yeah, the baby shower.
baby shower. Yes, and I thought that was, you know, first of all, who needs that? If we're watching a thing about polo, we don't need to know how someone having a party which is going to have a baby and where the balloons are and all these nice women dressed nicely sitting there, and she wants her husband to be there and he says he doesn't want to because he wants to be back on track practicing. Now, you know, it's not a drama. It was just a sort of ridiculous pop in and get something for women. You must let a woman feel that she's worthy. So you show up a man who's not not behaving very well. There were loads of those. You know, and another man who, you know, had to quickly cut up his son's lunch, you know, in little pieces, a little boy. And what was that doing in polo? It wasn't. It was just a sort of ridiculous to bring in the family. It was so contrived. It was so sort of ridiculous. It didn't move. It didn't run. You didn't run with it. I mean, I fell asleep actually. I missed the last bit, and I woke up in a sort of I missed it, so I had to go back.
Yeah,
and
that's the
finish-
thing.
finish off.
There's no drama. Look, obviously, I thought Harry and Meghan's self-titled series on Netflix was awful, the one where they slagged off the royal family constantly. But Angela, it was compelling. You wanted to watch it. That's one of the big problems with Polo. It's just boring. You're not invested in these people because, as you say, they're actually really not nice people. I mean, one of the owners of the team, they live in a huge mansion, the type of place we could only dream of. And they're so nasty to his son, who's now in the team and is just desperate to be kind to his father. And I just kept thinking, goodness me, these are the people that Harry chooses to hang around with.
Yes. I mean, I think in a way that it wasn't so much that. It was actually to show, they wanted to show every type of person doing every type of thing. So there's no story about it. You know, there was a father shouting at his son because he missed the getting the ball in the right place. And he was really rather unnice about it. You know, the guy was trying very hard. His father was shouting at him because he has to win. And so I thought, you know, you see that with parents, you see that in the football place where, you know, kids from school are trying to play and their parents get completely involved in it, shouting and screaming and telling them what to do. It's quite common. And I thought actually that one showed a lot that it's actually jolly hard work for some of those children to please their parent. Their parents paying out masses of money, $2,000 dollars, $2,000 for the horses and all those sorts of things, and they want their son to do very well, and I hate that attitude towards your own children, because they have to be themselves, and I felt that, for a moment or two, I felt a little bit of sympathy, but I think all these things were sort of dropped in, and that's what made it so boring. Desperately, desperately boring. But it's ridiculous to have two people who have no idea how to produce something and put them in to produce something. I mean,
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
inevitably
You
going to
constantly
be
see flashing up on
ridiculous.
screen executive producer Prince Harry, executive producer Meghan Markle. Well, they shouldn't be proud of that because unfortunately they've produced something really terrible. Angela, I want to read you out a new article in Closer magazine, which has some revelations about how Meghan feels about this series. An insider has
Just a
told
series.
the magazine, saying Polo is Harry's life. He put his heart and soul into this show and had huge hopes for it. So the fact that it's getting such terrible reviews has hit him very hard. Meghan is trying to be understanding, but apparently she's somewhat relieved because she's seeing this as an opportunity to convince Harry he should put more of his focus on other hobbies. She'd much rather he spends his free time surfing and hiking. So the suggestion from Close magazine is that actually Meghan's just pretending to enjoy polo.
Well, are they back together for a start? I mean, how are they speaking together if he's in one end of USA and she's at the other end of USA? How have they got that information? I would have a big sort of concern about that. The other thing is that Meghan she's always the winning girl. She should have not had anything to do with it because she gave nothing except some of these women who were hanging around waiting for their boyfriend to come back and saying to him, well, will we stay together? And he says, oh, I don't know. I mean, I've got things to do. I want to go off. Making any woman feel very insecure. I thought that was unkind of that man, but it was not necessary in that whole thing. I mean, that she shouldn't have been in it. She always has to be in it with her name, like she stands in front of everyone. She shouldn't. She should have left it to Harry, who would then have had help from the other producers there. There was about 6 of them that another's names came up. But if you've got someone like Meghan who thinks she knows about things when she hasn't even tried, you're in a very difficult position.
And what did you think of her boasting about the fact that, oh, I speak fluent Spanish and my husband didn't? It just felt like a very Meghan moment, even though it was meant to be about Harry.
I don't know whether she speaks Spanish. She just said a sentence or sentence and a half. She just wants to be brilliant at everything, doesn't she? I don't know about that. She always says, I can do this, I can do the other. There's nothing she can't do. She could run the royal family's home, couldn't she?
And do a much better job, in her view. Angela,
it's all that sort of thing that she can do. So she's not going to not say, I can do that. And Harry very proudly said, oh, but she's fluent. I bet you she is not. Because if she lived somewhere 20 years ago and she hasn't met many people since, you forget it. I used to speak fluent French. But because I don't speak now with people who are French a lot, you get very muddled up with how to do it properly.
But first, you know how I often talk about the need for free speech to be protected, but I've increasingly been thinking of the need for personal protection online from snoopers, bad actors, and hackers. And I'm delighted to tell you I have found the fail-safe solution. But what's more, this VPN is also a life changer when it comes to providing you entertainment and information from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. So let me introduce you to Surfshark. This has changed my life. Actually, it is an incredible and easy to use service that encrypts all your internet traffic, meaning your online activity stays safe so you can shop, stream, browse, and conduct your banking online in complete privacy as if you're in any country. But the benefits of Surfshark actually go beyond keeping you safe. This is an entertainment tool. You can access all your favorite channels or news shows or news channels from anywhere in the world, wherever you are, including, by the way, the big streaming services. So Hulu, iPlayer, HBO Max, Peacock, Amazon Prime, the different regional variations of Netflix and Disney Plus. Within seconds, you're watching as if you're in another country. For sport, it's amazing as well. If you're away, but the rights are only available to be watched by people in the UK, you just change your location. And this is an insurance policy too, because there is creeping censorship in lots of countries. I always point to the fact that France, if you're in France now, you can't watch Rumble. So this gives you the opportunity to watch anything, anytime, anywhere, true freedom. A VPN can also save you money because you can change your location for websites that alter their prices depending on where you are buying from, including airfares and sales and that sort of thing. But there are other benefits too. Surfshark gives you the option for unlimited devices, very helpful for me. I'm one of those annoying two-phone people, but also you can use it for your entire household too, with just one subscription. There are over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, meaning there's a world of choice at your fingertips, plus 24/7 customer service. Especially helpful if it is your first time using a VPN, and if it is, my goodness, you need one of these. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. What's more, Surfshark's so confident that it's the best VPN in the world that you can give it a try for a full 30 days. And if you're not entirely satisfied, you will get your money back. So www.surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price, or you can just click on the link in the description box below. That's easier. But now, back to the show. The other thing I found absolutely fascinating from Closer magazine, Angela, is they are already blaming someone else for the failure of the show. So let me just read this out to you, but I thought this was so typical of them. The insider tells Closer magazine, Meghan knows it doesn't really matter how she and Harry feel about it. Perception is everything. And now online forums are burning up with people ridiculing them. Truth is, it was pretty much out of their control. The bosses wanted the series to appeal to the masses and push this reality TV slant, so it's not entirely their fault, but it's starting to feel like a big mistake. It's pretty ironic because they've always acted so above this sort of thing, and now here they are producing the exact type of content they've always looked down on. And that is a huge irony, Angela, of course it is, but I just thought how telling that it's not Meghan's fault, is it? Of course, it's Netflix's fault.
How many times have we heard that? It's never Meghan's fault. It's never our fault. It's always someone else's. I mean, she's one of those people that blames other people. She won't take it. But if it had been well accepted, it would have been entirely her. Now, the people who helped change it, which she says, they wanted to do it their way, they probably saved it from being even worse. I mean, you can't do a 5-hour documentary on a subject unless you're really established, unless you really know, unless you started with small things and built it up. I have friends who left school, this did a sort of 10-minute thing, and then they did 20-minute, and now they're doing amazing work all around the world, hours. But you can't just take any old game, put your name to it, and hope for the best because you think you're so good. That's a problem. You've got to think, you've got to realize you can fail. You've got to practice everything. You've got to work really hard and do it. But this is all sort of superficial, nonsense for dopes, really.
The thing is, Angela, according to Milos Balak, who is the executive producer of this terrible series, he claims that Harry was very, very involved, and so was Meghan. So he's done an interview with Variety magazine, which has just been released today. I'll take you through some of it, Angela. So Variety asked, Prince Harry is a seasoned polo player and even briefly features in the series. How involved was he in shaping it? And he says he was involved, I'd say in a pretty incredible way, that he from the start definitely had a vision. And it was a good collaboration in terms of someone who really knows every tiny, minute detail versus someone who's coming as like the blind audience. So, according to this guy who was in charge of the series, Harry was very involved. Then they asked, was there more discussion about him featuring in the show? And this guy claims not really, because it just wasn't the premise of the series. From the start, the premise was always that he would be covering the US Open of polo, capturing the top athletes in this world. It was just great happenstance that the Centre Bali charity game was happening in Wellington, Florida this year. That truly was by chance. So
Well,
Harry,
I mean, actually,
very
the only
involved.
thing people would have been interested really is if Harry had sat down and had a really good conversation, because people still are very interested in him doing that. The fact that he was just maybe spoke about 4 sentences in the whole 5 hours, it's not satisfying. It's completely unsatisfying. So it's real rubbish, really.
Well, it is.
Um,
And this guy, I feel a bit sorry for this guy, Angela, because Variety asked, what are the
Ruin his
discussions at the
career.
moment about a season 2? Well, indeed, I think it will. And he replies, I think they're definitely open to it. You'll have to ask Netflix about their plans in that regard, but we made the show with a lot of love, and there's plenty of stories left in the world of polo to keep it going. Let me tell you right now, mate, there's not going to be a season 2. It was absolutely awful. There's no
Yes.
way there's going to be a season 2.
Well, I
Every
can't-
single project has flopped.
I can't see how it can be anything, number 2, anything, because we've seen so much of people just hitting a ball, hitting a ball, hitting a ball. It's extremely boring. And they're not really running very far. I mean, I was looking at the horses and thinking, poor things, they kept getting bashed together, but nobody took any notice of that. They just had to carry on. I just thought, well, you can't have learning again how you hit a polo ball. It's enough. I don't think anybody would ever want to look at that again, frankly, which is just what you would want, isn't it? It's
Yeah, I know. Well,
it's sad, but
it
they
is
deserve
sad.
it. I
It
mean,
is
it's
sad.
you can't, but it is stupid to do something for a series of 5 when actually you can't even do one. If they'd have wanted to do it, they should have done 15, 20 minutes, got the idea of it, and put it on the end of something else and see how it goes and understand if people fall for it or
The problem
watch
is they're
it.
trying to justify Netflix paying them well over $100 million. And Netflix
Yeah, well, I don't think
needs
you can give
time.
that to Harry and Meghan, because nobody, you really want sort of exciting stuff with Harry and Meghan, arguing or terrible stories about their lives with the royal family. That's what you want to pay for. You don't actually want
Yeah,
to pay
totally.
for them
Because
getting
the
involved.
one series that was a success, Angela, was Harry and Meghan, where they slagged off the royal family. Live to Lead's been a flop. The Heart of Invictus has been a flop. Now, I know it's only just out today, but I would be very, very surprised if Polo was a success. This guy, Milos Balak, the showrunner, has done one other interview today with People magazine. Andrew and I just wanted to show you this because he talks about Meghan here and Polo. And he says it seems that Meghan has adopted it as one of hers too, just in terms of being his partner. She also loves the sport, and it was really fun to talk to her about what she loves about it. And the thing is, Angela, again, we know, according to Closer magazine, that's not true. Meghan doesn't even want Harry playing the sport. So this is the thing. She'll say whatever is required, won't she, at that particular moment?
Well, I think the thing is that she does that because she can stand in the front and hold whatever they win, or they're even given as an award for that. But actually, here's a poor old Harry, because why can't he do that? If he wants to do that, why should she stop him? If that's what gives him pleasure. I mean, he's a wound up and unhappy man. If he wants to do that, let him do it. Why should she control him so much that he can't play polo should he want to? Why has she got to be there, messing around, being mother, being granny, being lover. Why is she always there? You can't actually try and keep a man like that, and telling him exactly what he can do. Move away, move backwards, move forwards. She does that whenever they go out. Let him have it. If he finds it nice, he finds it satisfying and exciting, let him do it. So what? If nobody else likes it, doesn't matter, because he can do it with his pals. It's a ridiculous way for a woman to behave.
It really is. It really is, Angela Levin. Well,
What?
anyway, we sat through that for you folks, okay? Don't do it. I give it 1 star. What's your star rating, Angela?
None.
Okay.
None. It was full of faults.
No,
It was
stop
too full of faults, and I could see
She's
all
harsher
the
than me.
Nick and all the ways that were. It was to show Meghan off. It was to show women off, to make them. Poor women are waiting for their lover to come home, and they don't really want to be with them. It's the wrong atmosphere. You can't get a sort of romantic nonsense
it
in
was
within
grim.
this.
It was grim. It was grim. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.